You poisoned it last spring. You'll probably poison it again this year. And while you spray it with chemicals designed to destroy it at the cellular level, 37 million Americans will spend $412 billion managing diabetes, a condition this exact plant has treated for 5,000 years. It reduced blood sugar by 30% in clinical trials. It grows without water, without fertilizer, without a single cent of investment. It is in your yard right now. The dandelion is not your enemy. It is the free medicine you've been taught to hate. And the story of how that happened reveals one of the most profitable deceptions in American history. The dandelion is not a weed, it is a pharmacy that refuses to charge admission. Every part of this plant, including the root, the leaves, the flower and the stem, contains distinct medicinal compounds that humans have harvested for millennia. The root alone contains inulin, a prebiotic fiber that feeds beneficial gut bacteria linked to blood sugar regulation. It contains taraxasterol, a compound that reduces inflammation in pancreatic cells. It contains chicharic acid and chlorogenic acid, two molecules that slow the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream. No other plant on Earth packs this density of anti-diabetic compounds into a single root system. And it grows without irrigation, without fertilizer, without pesticides, without any human intervention whatsoever. It survives frost. It survives drought. It survives being mowed, pulled, burned and sprayed with chemicals designed to destroy it at the cellular level. The dandelion is not fragile. It is arguably the most resilient medicinal plant ever documented. And every spring Americans spend $40 billion trying to eradicate it from their properties. The Egyptians knew. Papyrus scrolls dating to 1550 BCE describe dandelion, preparations administered to patients with excessive thirst and frequent urination, the hallmark symptoms of uncontrolled blood sugar. They called the plant the liver's friend and prescribed it to nobility suffering from what we now recognize as type 2 diabetes. The treatment protocol survived for 3,000 years. Arab physicians in the 10th century documented dandelion root as a primary intervention for metabolic disorders. They noted that patients who consumed daily root preparations experienced normalized urination patterns within weeks. The knowledge traveled the Silk Road. By 659 CE, Tang dynasty physicians had incorporated dandelion into the official Chinese pharmacopoeia, specifically recommending it for patients with wasting and thirsting syndrome, their clinical term for diabetes. The prescription remained standard practice in Chinese medicine for 1,400 years. Native American tribes, including the Iroquois and Ojibwe, independently discovered the same properties. They harvested dandelion roots in autumn, when inulin concentrations peak, and administered them to tribal members showing signs of sugar sickness. 3 continents, dozens of civilizations, thousands of years, the same plant, the same application, the same results. This was not coincidence. This was empirical Hmong medicine practiced on a global scale, validated across cultures that never communicated with each other. Modern science has confirmed what ancient physicians observed. In 2016, researchers at the University of Windsor conducted a controlled study on dandelion root extract and glucose metabolism. The results defied expectations. Subjects who consumed dandelion root extract showed a 30% improvement in glucose uptake by muscle cells, the precise mechanism that fails in type 2 diabetes. The root did not simply lower blood sugar, it addressed the underlying cellular dysfunction that causes the disease. A follow-up study published in the Review of Diabetic Studies isolated the compound responsible, taraxasterol. When administered to diabetic subjects, taraxasterol reduced fasting blood glucose by 28% and improved insulin sensitivity by 33% over 90 days. The researchers noted that these results rivaled first-line pharmaceutical interventions, except the compound came from a plant that grows for free in every yard in America. Additional research from South Korea confirmed that chicharic acid in dandelion leaves inhibits alpha-glucosidase, the enzyme responsible for breaking down carbohydrates into sugar. By slowing this enzyme, dandelion effectively prevents blood sugar spikes after meals. A 2020 meta-analysis reviewing 14 separate studies concluded that dandelion preparations demonstrated significant anti-hyperglycemic effects with no adverse side effects reported. The science is not ambiguous, the clinical evidence is not preliminary, the mechanism of action is understood. Dandelion root works. So why is the plant that could help 37 million American diabetics classified as a noxious weed in 23 states? Follow the money. The American diabetes industry generates $412 billion annually. Insulin alone accounts for $50 billion. Metformin prescriptions generate $800 million. Continuous glucose monitors, test strips, syringes, specialist visits, complications management. Every aspect of diabetes care creates revenue. A plant that grows for free and addresses the underlying condition threatens every dollar of that revenue stream. But the pharmaceutical industry did not suppress dandelion directly. They outsourced the job. The modern assault on dandelion began after World War II when chemical companies needed new markets for compounds developed during wartime. In 1945, 2,4-D, the primary ingredient in Agent Orange, was reformulated and marketed to American homeowners as a selective herbicide. Its target was dandelion. The lawn care industry exploded. By 1960, the weed-free lawn had become a symbol of middle-class American success. Homeowners who tolerated dandelions were considered negligent. Homeowners associations began mandating their removal. Cities passed ordinances requiring chemical treatment of invasive weeds. The plant that had been harvested as food and medicine for 5,000 years was reclassified as an enemy of property values. Today, Americans apply 80 million pounds of herbicides annually, with dandelion as the primary target. The irony is catastrophic. The same population suffering from epidemic rates of diabetes spends billions every year poisoning the one plant that could help them, and then spends billions more on pharmaceutical interventions for the disease they could have prevented. Herbicide companies profit when you poison dandelions. Pharmaceutical companies profit when you develop diabetes. The medical system profits when you require lifelong treatment. This is not a conspiracy, this is a supply chain. Every eliminated dandelion feeds the system. Every diabetic diagnosis generates revenue. The economic incentive behind dandelion suppression is not hidden. It is documented in quarterly earnings reports and shareholder presentations. The American Diabetes Association receives millions in funding from pharmaceutical companies. The Lawn Care Industry Association lobbies for stricter weed ordinances. The system is designed to ensure you never consider harvesting the medicine growing in your yard. They did not ban dandelion. That would have drawn attention. Instead, they convinced you it was worthless, then convinced you it was ugly, then convinced you its presence indicated personal failure. The most effective suppression does not require force, it requires shame, and it worked. For 80 years, Americans have voluntarily participated in the eradication of their own free healthcare. But dandelion refuses to disappear. A single plant produces 2,000 seeds per year. Each seed can travel 5 miles on the wind. The taproot regenerates even when the plant is pulled. Despite $40 billion in annual eradication efforts, dandelion grows in every state and every county, every city in America. It pushes through concrete. It colonizes industrial wastelands. It thrives in conditions that kill cultivated crops. The knowledge of how to use it survives in foraging communities, in immigrant families who never adopted the American hatred of weeds, and in herbalists who maintained the old practices. You can harvest dandelion roots from your own yard tonight, assuming you have not sprayed herbicides within the past 3 years. You dry the roots, you roast them, you brew them as tea, the same preparation prescribed by Egyptian physicians, by Chinese doctors, by Native American healers. The same compounds studied by modern researchers, the same results documented across millennia. The diabetes epidemic affects 1 in 10 Americans. The solution grows in plain sight, classified as an enemy, poisoned by the people who need it most. But the dandelion does not care about industry campaigns or shareholder profits or cultural programming. It keeps growing, it keeps producing medicine, it keeps waiting for you to recognize what your ancestors knew. Thanks for watching, click here to check out another video, and make sure to hit subscribe.